we are welcome you here today. We are excited to be here, I guess. We are doing Healthy Living Principles and Promises with Michelle Lockhart. And this is for you.
Oh, thank you.
Ooh, sweet.
So if I start falling out, somebody feed me a chocolate.
There we go. So we'll go ahead and turn the time over to Michelle.
So excited to be here, brothers and sisters. This is a passion of mine, healthy living, near and dear to my heart. Somebody asked me at the beginning what all the alphabet soup at the bottom stands for, so I'll just do that really fast. Registered nurse, bachelor's of science in nursing, therapeutic nutrition practitioner, certified personal trainer, and national board certified health and wellness coach. So there you go. That's enough about me.
Well, you're pretty important.
Yeah, just go ahead, keep going. So I'm excited to be here. We're all here for the same reason. We all have this big thing in our life, and I love the way that this word was on here because it never ends, and it never really began, and it never really ends. And I lost my husband to metastatic melanoma in May of 2015. And since then, my life has changed dramatically in really amazingly good ways, and in some ways that I really wish that it hadn't have happened. Well, I always wish that it hadn't, but bad things that have come from as a consequence. And we know that grief affects us or mentally and spiritually and emotionally, but it actually affects us physically as well. So I want you guys to let me know if you recognize any of these physical issues that are caused by grief. So one's digestive problems. We tend to get nauseated, constipated, diarrhea. We gain weight or lose weight, appetite changes. Then we have pain.
Making love to the refrigerator.
Yeah. So pain and discomfort. We're more susceptible to illnesses. Anybody have this one? I don't know anybody who is a widow or widower that hasn't had sleep problems. And then there's also difficulty with your daily activities. So all of these things are actual problems. And they say in all the literature I've read that these can last up from 2 weeks all the way to 2 years. If you're still experiencing some of these things 2 years later, then that's a time that you would know hey, it's time to seek some help, some professional help. If you haven't had some of these things start to abate or change or get better. So a lot of the things we're going to talk about today are things that will help with these physical things that are happening in our lives from the grief process. And as we go, I'm going to link things to the word of wisdom, because the word of wisdom is really our user manual. We have a maker who created us, and then he gave us a user manual. So I want to link that together. So some of the things that about the word of wisdom. The word of wisdom is a principle with promise. And so there's a lot of promises in there, as well as principles and guiding principles on how to take care of our body. So we're going to examine some of those. It's adapted, and this is my favorite. It's adapted to the weak and the weakest. And I fall in that range. And so it's for me. I'm right there between weak and weakest. So he has 100% trust and faith and knowledge that we can do this. He didn't give us something that was given to those who are strong. It was given for us who are weak to be able to do it. It was given to protect us from the evil conspiring men in the last days. And I'm going to give you a news flash. We're in the last days. So, and then it's a revelation. It was given as a revelation, and then it became commandment through revelation as well. And so as we go through, I'd love to have you, I'm talking really fast because I got a lot of material, and I'm going to like vomit a whole bunch of ideas on you. And I want you to know that nobody does 100% of any of this. The people just don't do that. Even I work with elite athletes, and they don't even do 100%. So what I want you to do is to really be in the present and think about the things that you hear, and anything that comes to mind that says, I need to, write it down. So if I say something, you're like, oh, I need to do such and such, write it down. And then when you're done, go back through those things and pick the one thing that would make the most difference, that would make the biggest impact. And then just work on that. Because if you go home and say, I can't do all that, this isn't an all or nothing proposition here. Let's pick something and work on that something, okay? And then I'm going to, because we have a lot of stuff, I want to get to a whole bunch of things so that everybody has something that might work for them. And then at the end, I'll have questions so that you can ask me any questions that you have at the end. So we're not going to be real back and forth this time. Okay, our first thing that we're going to work on is mindset. Mindset is incredible. Our brains are built to take care of our bodies. And one of the things that people say to me all the time is, everything that goes on in my head is negative and I just can't fix that. Well, there's a really good reason for that. Our brain's first and foremost job is to keep us safe. Negative things are dangerous. Positive things generally are not. Generally, when you're with loved ones and you're in by a cozy fire and you're popping popcorn, there's nothing dangerous there. But your brain's constantly scanning for anything negative, anything dangerous in any situation you're in. So you're walking into a room full of people you don't know, your brain's going, you might get your feelings hurt, you might stumble and fall, you might be embarrassed. And so it's like danger, 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 danger. And it's picking out all the negative. That's the way our brains work. When we have an encounter with a negative, say you send your kid out the door and you say, you forgot to clean your room, you sloppy kid, you're so lazy, immediate memory, that goes immediately in their bank, immediately. If you say, I love you, it's gone. 2 hours from now, they won't remember you said that. You have to be in the positive for 11 seconds in order to create a positive memory. So our negative bank is overflowing. I mean, by the time you get to be my age, it's stuffed to the gills with negative, negative, negative. And so when anything comes up, it's like, well, it's real easy to shuffle through all the negative and give you something negative, and it's a little harder to do the positive. That's why you have to create positive memories. That's why you have, when you tell your child you love them, it's, you are so amazing. I am so proud of you. You've done such good work. Good job. Go to school, kick some butt. I love you. That's 11 seconds. They will remember that. Okay, so with that in mind, we get ourselves into this negative circle. We have something negative happen, and every one of us in this room had a major negative thing happen to us. It tends to get us into having negative thoughts about ourselves, about God, about our situation, you name it. That puts us into this self-doubt. I can't do this. This is not what was supposed to happen. I can't figure this out. I'm not good enough. My whole person can't deal with this. Then we start doing negative behaviors. I'm just going to stay in bed. I'm not going to take care of myself. I'm not going to go look for that job. I'm just going to, whatever it is, that is that negative behavior, which then leads to another negative outcome. And you just get into this cycle of negativity that you can't get out of. The opposite of that is the positive cycle. Now you notice at the top of this one, it says positive/negative, because there's people that have positive things and they turn it negative. All of a sudden they have bad, negative thoughts. They're at Disneyland with all their grandkids. I had to walk too far. My feet hurt too much. It was rainy. It cost too much. So you get yourself into a negative cycle when you're experiencing something positive. So the first thing is situational acceptance, accepting where you are and what's happening, and then starting with the positive thoughts that will lead to positive behaviors. Now, this is where this is in the cycle, this is where I call being yoked to the Lord. We are yoked to the Lord in that top one, the outcome, that's his job. That is not my job. That is his job. My job is to accept the situation, think positive thoughts, do positive behaviors, and then allow him to be in charge of the outcome. And whether it be positive or negative, and then continue in the positive cycle regardless of what the outcome is. And so that's why his job is our eternal salvation. That is our job as well. That's what yokes us together. And we're equal on that team, but we do different things. So if we can accept what's happening and accept that situation, we can keep ourselves in the positive. Well, there's a little golden nugget in the word of wisdom that supports this. And I know you're thinking, is that the no beer or no, it talks about remembering and keeping the commandments. Remembering and keeping commandments puts us into that positive loop. You can't remember and keep commandments and be in a negative place. You have that's in a positive space. So when we remember what we've been commanded to do and we follow those commandments, that's putting us into that positive loop. When we're in that positive mindset, then we're available to receive the wisdom and the treasures of knowledge that the Lord promised to give us when we are doing the things that he asks us to do inside of the word of wisdom. And if you like, just I'm seeing everybody take pictures. I'm going to pass around a thing. Actually, I'll just do it right now. You can give me your email and I will send you the slide set. And I've got a couple other things, other goodies. You guys probably all have pens. If you guys will just send that back into the sides, I'll get that to you. Okay. Yeah, there's 3 of them. So just send them in different directions and I can send you all of the materials that we're working on. And anybody who's on Zoom, I will give you my email address at the end so you can ask for that, for those materials. So there's 3 ways to set yourself up so that you can do better self-talk. So one, I've got a step, so I can't read it from here. First of all, listen to what you're saying to yourself. I want you to remember that the voice in your brain is your brain, not you. You are not the one who's coming up with those. You didn't sit there and dig through all those negative things and say, oh, this is the negative thought I'm going to think. That's your brain. You can tell your brain to shut up. You can tell your brain that's not true. So I want you to notice what your inner voice is saying. Is your self-talk mostly positive or mostly negative? We'll never ever get away from having negative thoughts pop up. It just, that is who we are. That is how we are wired. But are you changing those so they become positive thoughts? And then each day make some notes about what kind of talk is going on in your head. And then once you do that, then challenge your self-talk. Is there any truth to the talk? So, and then the second one is, would you say that to a friend? This is a great example. You're sitting on the couch with your friend and you're watching TV. And in your mind pops, you are so lazy. You're sitting here watching TV. You could be doing something productive. You always do this. You are such a slob. And then your friend says, oh my gosh, I'm so lazy. I'm sitting here watching TV. I shouldn't be doing this. I'm such a slob. And you, no, you're not. You had a hard day. You deserve to rest. You are so cool. You are so good. It's like, where was the difference? We have got to treat ourselves as our own best friend and let yourself talk to yourself the way you would talk to a friend. No, I am not being lazy. I worked hard all day long. I am very tired and I am taking a break. I am taking a rest and I'm choosing to do this. So just shut up, brain, and let me enjoy my show. So, and then can I do anything to change this? If there's nothing you can do to change the situation, then how can I change my thoughts about it? The next one is to then change your self-talk. The best way to do this is to make a list of all of the positive things about yourself so that anytime you can take that negative right out of there, throw it out and say, I am not lazy. I am a productive person, or I am smart, or I am whatever. You pick your adjective from your list of positive things about yourself. And you have a lot of positive things about yourself. Make your list according to how you would make a list for a friend. So that you have lots of positive adjectives to pull out of. And so instead of saying, I'm never going to be able to do this, say, is there anything that I can do? Or I'm not able to do this yet. That's where I'm like, this is so hard. I can do hard things. So changing that mindset. All right, our next one for mindset is mindfulness. Now there's a difference between mindset and mindfulness. This is my favorite definition of mindfulness. Mindfulness means paying attention in a particular way, on purpose, in the present moment, and non-judging. So you're not thinking about, I'm lazy because I was lazy 10 years ago. I like laid on the bed for 2 years. I'm not lazy today, and I may or may not be lazy tomorrow. In this moment, what's happening in this moment? And the word of wisdom, it has something about mindfulness. We are mortals. We live moment to moment. The word of wisdom says we need to be obedient, and we will be rewarded for obedience. We can only be obedient in the moment we are in. We cannot be obedient in the past. We cannot be obedient in the future. We can plan to be obedient in the future. We can repent for non-obedience in the past and pat ourselves on the back for obedience in the past, but we can actually only be obedient in the moment. And so the word of wisdom says, be obedient. Obedience is mindfulness. It's about being mindful of what you're doing. God is omniscient. And I practiced that word and I said it right. And I'm so proud of myself. Only he lives in the past, present, and future. So allow him to forgive you of your past sins. Allow him to be with you in your present, and allow him to guide you into your future. That's the way that he can help you as you go forward. Mindfulness is all about getting your schmeck together. You got to get your schmeck together. So we're going to talk about getting your schmeck together. This is one thing that if you take nothing away from this, if you can get your schmeck together, you will live a much healthier and happier life. So schmeck stands for sleep, hunger, mood, energy, and clarity and concentration. When these things are properly aligned, it means we're doing the outside things correctly. And we're going to talk about after this, the things that we can do to help to increase our schmeck score. So what I ask my people that I work with to do is to rate on a 1 to 10 scale every day your schmeck score. 1 is awful and 10 is awesome. And so we're going to talk about each one of these and what the score would look like and some of the things you can do. All right, which one of these do you identify with? We're all about identifying, right? Which one do you identify with? More days than I'd like to count, I identify with the first one here. Every now and then, that one over there, it's usually when I'm on vacation and I know outside that door is a beach. That's when I'm like, yeah, let's go. So a 1 on your schmeck score would be fitful sleep, not enough sleep, couldn't fall asleep. Number 10 would be restful, and I had plenty of sleep, okay? So let's talk a little bit about sleep. Sleep is really an interesting animal because how you sleep tonight starts the minute you wake up. All the things that you do, starting from when you wake up, tells whether or not you're going to sleep well that night. So they talk about sleep hygiene, and 30 minutes before, 2 hours before, do this. Starts the minute you wake up. So the reason being is that when you open your eyes on your retinas, there are receptors. And as soon as those receptors start getting light, mostly sunlight, the artificial light doesn't do it as well. When it gets hit, then it sends a message to your brain that says, start making melatonin or start the melatonin process. So 14 to 16 hours later, your melatonin is going to be at its very highest, and that's when it's time to go to bed. So knowing that, the best time to wake up is when you're in your lightest cycle, when you're sleeping. So they have bands that you can put on your wrist. You can set it on your phone and say, I need to wake up between 6 and 6:15. And then it will monitor your sleep. And when you're your lightest cycle, then it will wake you up by buzzing that, or you can set it to do a noise on your table. So that's the best way to wake up, waking up in that lowest sleep. Being awakened by light, setting a lamp to a timer so it slowly comes on, and so it slowly brightens your room as it's time to get up. Get moving right away. And I have to tell you, and I'm super bad at this. I'm like, alarm clock, phone. Not a good way to wake up. And so getting moving, get your blood pumping, get your feet on the floor. That will help you to start getting you ready for sleep the next night. And then finding the sun. The faster you can get your eyes in the sun, and not through a window, but the actual sun, standing outside, you only need 5 minutes. They make light boxes that you can get light bulbs that you can put in your bathroom so that you can actually get the right kinds of light rays to your eyes that will help you to sleep better the next night. As you go through the afternoon and through the day, alcohol shouldn't be a problem in this room, but caffeine may be. If you don't do caffeine, don't start. If you do caffeine and you're a slow metabolizer, you should stop at 10. 10 in the morning is the latest. If you're a slow metabolizer, if you're a fast metabolizer, 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon is the latest that you should be drinking caffeine. Exercise, we're going to talk about. Eating, we're going to talk about. Water, we're going to talk about. But limiting fluids, knowing when that full point is, like if I drink anything else after this, I'm getting up in the night to go to the bathroom more than I want to. And then clearing your thoughts, journaling before you go to bed, getting all of your thoughts out from the day, putting all your to-do lists for tomorrow down so you can get it out of your head. I put a notebook by the side of my bed because I'll wake up and if I can write it down, then I can forget it. And then I wake up in the morning, can't read it, but at least I got to go to sleep. At least I got some sleep. And another couple of things, set your room temperature to cold, 67. You can put more blankets on, but having it cold in the room, even having your head cooler works really well. Make your room dark as possible. And then just go to bed. And we as adults, it's almost like we're rebelling against our parents. I'm 5 years old. I'm not going to bed. I'm not going to bed. I'm not going to bed. We just need to go to bed. And the studies show that if you go to bed at the same time and get up at the same time, you get much better sleep. All of us want to sleep in on the weekend. And the better thing to do is to get up on the right time and take a nap. Take a nap around 2 or 3. Treat yourself to a nap instead of the sleeping in. And the last one is to sleep at least 7 to 9 hours a night. Everybody, and as you get older, it's kind of when you're young, you need more, and then it gets shorter, and then as you get older, you need more. So make sure you're getting plenty of sleep. All right. Last ones. Turn off your electronics 30 minutes before. Do something to de-stress. But you should take 30 minutes to get ready for bed, to get de-stressed, read some scriptures, read a book, take a shower, create that environment so that you can sleep. All right, next one, hunger on Schmeck. One is I'm hungry all day long, or I'm not hungry at all. That's inappropriate hunger, all the way to I had appropriate hunger. I ate, I was full, several hours went by, I got hungry, I ate. That's appropriate hunger. So let's talk a little bit about hunger, maybe. There we go. Hunger is our physical desire, our physical need to eat. We don't just eat because we're hungry. If that were the case, we would all not need to be here because we would all eat just the way we should. But we also desire and crave and emotionally eat. So desire is wanting something simply because I saw it. I'm walking along and I didn't need anything. It's like, woo, cupcakes. And I need a cupcake now. Craving is just out of the blue. I need chips and chocolate. It just comes. And then emotional is social, cultural, and emotional reasons for eating. So it's not bad to eat in those circumstances, but when that is the driving force for the biggest percentage of your eating, then you've got some issues. Generally, if it's cravings, your gut health isn't your gut's not very healthy because the bacteria are craving things that are unhealthy. Especially if you're craving vegetables, then you're doing good. But I rarely hear people who are craving vegetables. So it's usually your gut health that's the problem. If it's desired, then sometimes that can be gut, but it can also be you're surrounding yourself with too much stuff that you want to eat, that you desire to eat. Emotional, social, and cultural is a hard one because we do that a lot. But if you're finding that you're emotionally eating all the time, I'm full, but I really need to sit down and eat something to make myself feel better, then finding new ways to cope with emotional. So let's look at the hunger scale. So One means I'm ravenous and I'm going to eat my next door neighbor's fingers if I don't get something to eat right now. And 10 is I ate so much that my body is rebelling and I'm going to vomit. So we never want to get to those extremes. We want to start thinking about eating when we're around a 4, eating by the time we're 3, because we make bad choices when we're on the lower end of the scale. And then we want to stop eating when we're at a 7 and moving into an 8, because we don't want to get to that very uncomfortable, I ate way too much place. So really when you are ready to eat, say, why am I eating? Am I hungry? And on the scale, how hungry am I? And then as I'm eating, when to stop based on my hunger. So that's just being mindful of how you feel. Next one on the schmeck is mood. Now people get mood and emotions mixed up. Emotions are all the things that we have that we react to as the situation in our life goes along day by day. You know, you were going too fast and somebody cut you off, angry. And, you know, oh, look at how that cute little guy is up there waving on the billboard. So things, your emotions change really fast. You're in and out of all these different emotions. Your mood is the underlying feeling. So when you start talking about mood and somebody's talking about depression, and they're depressed, I've heard countless times when somebody has tried to harm themselves or has harmed themselves right after they were at a party where they seemed very happy. And that was not a false emotion. They were happy, but their mood was depressed. And so really concentrating on what is the underlying feeling. We can feel joy, we can feel peace, we can feel calm underneath stress, underneath sorrow. I know that you guys have experienced sorrow and peace at the same time. I had my daughter get married in the temple after her dad died. It was a joyous occasion. Her husband joined the church and they had worked really hard to get to the temple. And I was so, so happy. And he wasn't there. And I was so devastated. So at the exact same time, I had both those feelings. So the underlying mood was peace. I knew that it was the way it was. It was what it was. It is what it is. And so that's what mood is all about. One is I'm all over the place all the time. I'm depressed. I'm anxious. I don't have this peace. I don't have any stability. And 10 is you're nice and steady with your mood. Your mood's appropriate for the situation. Some things you can do to improve your mood. Vitamin D. So every person in this room should be on vitamin D3. It is something that everybody lacks. We don't spend enough time outdoors. There are not very many foods that contain vitamin D. The milk that's fortified with vitamin D is not really usable vitamin D. So everybody needs to be on some sort of vitamin D supplement and get outside. Just be outside and you've got to have a little more of your body exposed than this. So you got to have some arms and legs exposed so that you can get your vitamin D. And then stretch and meditate. Did you have?
I did. How much time outside?
Outside, they're saying like 15 minutes with 60% of your body exposed.
60%.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, short sleeves, you'd be fine. Stretch and meditation. Smile. I had this experience where I was standing in my bathroom and I was ugly crying. I know none of you have done that. Seriously ugly crying. And I looked up in the mirror and it was so pathetic that I started to laugh and I smiled at myself and everything changed. I mean, I could feel it physically changing in my body. I ran a marathon and every time that I started having those thoughts of, this is not happening, I'm not making it, then I just smile and it just changes things. It changes you physically. Aerobic exercise is really important. And then physical touch. When Stan's wife died, he started getting massage therapy and that helped release his muscles and release the tension, but he also got some of the physical touch that he was missing. And then serotonin. And so Google what foods are high in serotonin. One is pineapple, but there are other foods that are high. So get yourself some serotonin. And in your food, not taking a pill. Anything in your food is going to be far superior to any pill that you take. Energy, low energy, I cannot drag myself out of bed. High energy, somebody put a lid on this person. So that's where you're gauging. High energy is not necessary often, but sometimes you need that. So the thing with energy is just really concentrating on what things give me energy and what things take my energy away. And how can I do more of those things that give me energy and less of those things that take my energy away? And we're going to talk about that because food, movement, and rest play a big part in our energy levels. Okay, clarity and concentration is the next one. Widow's fog. We all know it. It's like, you want me to pay a bill? I don't know how to do that. I've been doing it for the last 30 years. And now all of a sudden I can't remember how to write a check. It's real. And so one would be, I am foggy, I'm distracted, I can't even concentrate on the easiest, simplest task. Where 10 is I'm clear and I'm focused and I've got this. So there's a couple of things that we can do to help with that clarity and concentration. And they all have to do with the next three things: the fuel, the movement, and the rest. So fuel. So that was our schmeck. Those were, and now we're going to move into how do we help you to get your schmeck together and get it put together so that you feel really
Such a
good.
great role. I hate to interrupt you, but just a quick question. Do you know what's the key to getting out of the widow's fog? Does it just come all of a sudden? It comes.
Yes, time and then the self-care are the two things. But time, you got to give yourself time. You really do. If you're 2 years in and you still have that, then that's when you need to start looking at who do I need to go talk to help me, some professionals to help me. And it can be a counselor, but it could also be a nutritionist, or it could be your family doctor, to just see if there's other things playing into it. I've had widows that I've worked with, and we do a battery of blood tests and find out that they're going through menopause. So they first went through that, and then now all of a sudden all their hormones have changed. So now we've gone from widow's fog to menopausal crazy lady fog. So and so really, if it's been 2 years, and trying to find out, is this still linked to the widow's fog? So let's talk a little bit about food. So I love food. I am a foodie, and I love nutrition. And so my big thing is food has no inherent what is it? No inherent, huh? No, it's got lots of benefits. It doesn't have value. It doesn't have any moral value. So a vegetarian is not more exalted than someone who's a strict carnivore. There's no moral value with foods. There's no bad foods and there's no good foods. Every food you put in your mouth is going to provide you calories and energy. It's going to make you full. It's going to give you what you need to move forward. However, there are foods that are higher in nutritional value, and there are foods that are lower in nutritional value. There are some foods that are high in physical consequences, and there are foods that are high in physical benefits. And so we want to look at food that way, because I don't like it when people say, okay, tell me what I can't eat. And I'm like, are you physically unable to eat something? Because you can put anything you want in your mouth at any time. It just depends on what your goal is and what you want to accomplish. So a couple of nuggets. These are easy ones in the book of, in the Word of Wisdom. We're not going to talk about the don'ts. We all know that one. But the do's, herbs. So I'm a very strong proponent of herbs. And it says all wholesome herbs are for the constitution, nature, and use of man. Now, everybody on the planet, everybody in the church, they classify their own what's wholesome, what's not wholesome, what's tea, what's not tea. I don't want to get in that discussion, but herbs can help with hormone imbalances. They can help with sleep. They can help with energy and mood. There's a lot of things that herbs can do, but I do recommend that you talk to somebody who knows about herbs before you just start taking them, because some herbs counteract each other. Some herbs make others worse. They interrupt medications you're taking. So just make sure that you're talking to somebody who knows about herbs before you just start taking them. But if you have the time, as far as you're not in a medical crisis and you actually have some time to figure out, can these herbs ease the symptoms that I'm having, I would recommend that you look into that. I am 100%, I'm RN, I'm 100% into Western medicine, take the medicine your doctors give you, go to your doctors. I am a doctor person, but I also think that our Heavenly Father's put a lot of things on this earth that we haven't discovered yet and that we have, but we don't utilize. Okay, that's my herbs. And then food is to be used with prudence and thanksgiving. Prudence means, that moderation in all things except vegetables. No moderation in vegetables. Just eat them all. But the one that I think is interesting is Thanksgiving. There was a huge study done and they were trying to find out, you can eat, like everybody in this room could eat the same apple. And like if we all fasted, then we all ate the same apple and then they collected all of our poop after that. It would have varying degrees of nutrition in it. So some of us would suck up all the nutrients from that apple and we just poop out all the rest. And others, the stuff they pooped out would be almost as high nutrition as the apple they ate because they didn't absorb the nutrients. So they did a study to see what helps us to absorb nutrients. And there's a whole bunch of things, but one that's really interesting is gratitude. They found that people who said a prayer of gratitude before they ate their food actually got more nutrients from it. And God commanded us to be grateful for our food. Isn't that weird? I think it's so interesting because that is, that's why we prayed. And I found myself after my husband died and I'm in the kitchen, I'm making my own food. Nobody's home. I empty nested the month after he passed away. I'm all by myself. It was very easy to just go sit in front of the TV and start eating without praying. We prayed all the time before. When we sat down together, we would pray. But once he was gone, I found it very easy to skip that step. But praying on your food and expressing gratitude, and not just expressing it, but feeling that gratitude. And so I think that was an important thing. Fruits and veggies in the Bible, in scripture speak, fruit means anything of the land, on trees, under the ground. So all vegetables, fruits, legumes, beans, nuts, seeds, that's all considered fruit. So fruits and vegetables and grains are the staff of life. And meat's okay too, sparingly, with Thanksgiving. And I think with that, it includes being thankful and grateful to the animals who sacrificed their life for us to be able to eat them. Yeah.
Thanksgiving, like, is it also like being mindful and caring about, like, enjoying your food?
Yes.
Because we do that a lot. Like my
Yes.
sisters and I, we actually plan out how we're eating our food so we get the best last bite.
Yes, that's awesome. That's awesome. And that's our next one. You're gonna love this.
Am I getting more nutrients?
Yes. And I have
about
about 4 slides down, and take a picture of it, and then you can say, no, see, I told you. Okay, so when we are talking about nutrients, we have those foods that I was talking about that give us the most nutrients. I call those our green foods. It doesn't mean we should only eat green foods. It means that the biggest percentage of our day should be eaten with the green foods, especially the meals you have total control over. There is no reason to eat a Pop-Tart for breakfast when you can eat an avocado toast, or there's so many things out there that you can eat that are healthy. There's no reason, and you're home, that there's no reason to pick subpar foods when you can choose healthier foods. So our lean meats, lentils and beans, all of the grains, buckwheat and quinoa are both complete proteins. So not only are they great carbs, but they're great proteins as well. And as we get older, we need more protein. Farro is an amazing grain. It's easy to fix and it's really tasty. Brown rice, then you've got your oils, avocado, olive, I can't see, you guys can see it anyway. So I'll send this to you if you guys want it. Then we have these are our yellow foods, not quite as healthy, but we're still okay. Flavored yogurts, flavored kefir, uncultured cottage cheese, the deli sliced meat. So your first choice should be chicken breast, turkey breast to put on your sandwich. Second choice, you go to the deli, have them slice it, that's yellow. When you pull it out of the fridge in a little plastic package, that's red. That's not very healthy. Lots of nitrates, high sodium, even the ones that say healthy on it aren't. Don't believe them. The carbs, anything that's really processed, anything that's high in sugar, high in white processed flours, cookies, cakes, those kinds of things. And then our fats, vegetable oils, canola oil, whatever else it says on there. Now butter, I think is butter on there. I would have a little argument with butter if butter's on there. Okay, good. Yay. I know, actually, I think they put butter on red. That's why I have the argument. Okay, red, eat less of these things. Chicken wings, chicken nuggets, fried foods. So you guys know these. Butter is on there and I do have issues with that. I think butter is just fine, especially if you're eating a little on your toast or a little on your vegetables or a little here and there. Cook with olive oil, use the butter for other things. I actually have a really cool spice that you can put on there that makes it taste like butter without the butter. And rainbow. So when we're talking plants, you need to get out of green and brown and into all the colors so that you're eating a variety of colors every single day. We tend to eat all red fruits and all green vegetables. And we need to eat red vegetables, green fruits, orange and yellow and purple, and get all of the different colors in. So when you're shopping, if you'll notice what colors you're putting in, and that includes nuts and seeds, beans and legumes, so black beans, brown beans, kidney beans, all of them being different colors. Make it so, because they all have different nutrients, micronutrients in them. And then this is your slide, take a picture. Mindful eating, it is proven. These are the things they came up with in that study with gratitude. So consider the source we've just talked about. Enjoying the experience, actually saying, I'm going to sit down. Okay, we live in this hurry, sympathetic fight or flight kind of lifestyle. We are always in the sympathetic nervous system. That's where we live. The parasympathetic nervous system is the opposite, and it's called rest and digest. You think maybe we should eat in rest and digest and not in fight or flight. And yet we eat in flight or fight all the time. When we eat in fight or flight, our food does not. It gets digested and it gets moved through, but it causes constipation or diarrhea, and it really decreases the amount of nutrients that we pull out of it. So actually sitting down, turning on some music, not being distracted, having good conversation. When I was alone eating, there were times when I just call a friend or call my daughter and we have a chat while I was eating my dinner. Healthy, good conversation while I was eating. Drink water throughout your meal to help it to move through nicely. Love what you eat, for crying out loud. Don't eat green food simply because it's healthy. How long are you going to do that? How long are you going to eat tofu burgers when they make you feel like you're going to vomit? Don't eat good food, healthy food, simply because it's healthy. Love what you eat. Just make sure that you have a whole bunch of really healthy things that you love to replace some of the things that that you love more. Okay. All right, let's keep going. We're getting there. Movement. The first thing people think of when they see the word movement is exercise. Oh, exercise. And then everybody's like, I need to exercise. So let's talk a little bit about movement. Our bodies are built to move. And I love this graphic because we push, we pull, we lift, we turn, we twist, we jump, we bend, we step, we punch, we hit, we slap. There's a number. I was even like this, and I'm like, there's a whole bunch of other ones that I thought of that aren't on here. And that movement is super important. We start to narrow. You watch a little kid, I mean, heavens, Betsy, they move all over the place and they're moving in all kinds of different ways. And we limit ourselves to standing, sitting, walking, bending if we have to, lifting if no one else is there. And so how many times a day do you do this? I put my shirt on, I took my shirt off. That's it. I didn't put my arms above my head again for the rest of the day. So we are built to move. So there's this really cool thing called NEAT. It's so cool. They called it NEAT. It's called non-exercise activity thermogenesis. And you don't have to remember that because it's right there. That means all movement outside of structured exercise. The reason why this is super important is because if you exercise for an hour and you're awake and you sleep for 8 hours, that's only 6% of your day, or 4% of your day. But you are in your NEAT activity for 63% of your day. If you increase that number, you will burn more calories. And that helps us by increasing our NEAT. It helps us with fat loss. It helps us to feel more healthy. And it also enhances our mood. So back to that one. So this is how many calories when we eat. 100% of our calories, 60% are for our heart and our lungs and our diaphragm and all of that, muscles. 20, we'll burn 12% with active exercise. We'll burn 6% simply digesting and breaking our food down into energy, and 22% in NEAT. So if you don't exercise, that 12% goes to fat. If you sit and do nothing, that 22% goes to fat. So you can increase the NEAT, not even exercise. I would rather have somebody who is active and physical all day long who does not exercise. The best would be I exercise, I move all day long. Second best is I move all day long. And third best is I exercise, but I sit still all day. So I'd rather have my people engaged in NEAT. Okay. All right. This is with all of this, not just with exercise, but when you do just a little bit more movement, it gives you a little bit more functionality, which gives you a little bit more confidence, which gives you a little bit more ability to do a little bit more. And you keep on going. Thank you. You just keep on going so that you do more and more, but you have to start right there. So that is movement. Last one. Oh, here's our nuggets. Run and not be weary. That one's easy, right? Okay. Last one. You need to rest. Rest includes physical, mental, emotional, social, creative, spiritual, and sensory. So you guys can see some of these on here. Rest isn't sleep. Rest is actually doing something that takes you away from the everyday stressors of life. For me, dancing is I love to dance. It's very stress reducing for me. Getting out and playing pickleball, playing active things, writing in your journals, spiritual things, reading your scriptures, reading a book. Those are all things that are resting. You need this every day, and you need different kinds throughout the week.
How much?
That I think is depending on you. But that one is, and we're like 2 minutes out of time. So walk and not faint, because walking is all about being able to walk through life. So the last one is, I will send this to you if you gave me your email. It's a log that I made, and it goes through all of these things, so you can just log them all in. But the last one is that our last promise is health in the navel and marrow in the bones. In the scriptures, the navel is where we were connected to our mothers in the womb, and we were dependent on our mothers for everything. Now it is in our life, it is symbolic of our connection to God, and that we are dependent upon him for everything. And so when we have health in our navel, it means we have a close connection to our Heavenly Father. And then marrow in the bones, marrow is a sign of vitality and of living life to its fullest, and enjoying and doing the things that you want to do. And bones are at your very core. So it's living your best life to your very core in conjunction with being with your Heavenly Father. That's what health in your navel and marrow in your bones means. And for us as Latter-day Saints, that has real significance. And so the Lord has promised us that we will have health in our navel and marrow in our bones if we will do those things that bring us closer to him through taking care of our physical bodies. I know that is true, and I say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. If any of you have questions, feel free.